If you guys haven't heard about this story, this is glorious, and more men need to step up to the plate and do this kind of stuff. You're going to love it. Men register as non-binary to overrun a recruiter booths at world's largest tech conference for women.
Yes. Listen. All right. First of all, men have no safety net.
No.
No one is coming to our rescue. There is no tax dollars to help us. It's on us to get out from under the thumb.
Yeah.
And we men, once we learn the rules of the system, we figure how to game the rules against themselves, how to operate outside the system. Some would call that cheating. I call it out-Darwining.
Out-Darwining, yeah.
Yes.
You got to try to out-Darwin.
You got to out-Darwin if you want to get by in this world. And I cannot blame these men for doing that. I read this article, and there's actually 2 or 3 of them out there. And it's, one, it's comedy gold.
It is.
2, they need to do it. 3, it has to happen. And 4, I have no idea why they aren't suing the shit out of these companies that are offering this all-woman bullshit. Because if you had this is just a man's hiring conference, somebody would be getting sued in federal court.
Oh, you're not lying.
So we need to start suing the shit out of these people, because I don't want to see anyone starve or not be able to work because of the color of their skin or what's hanging or not hanging between their legs.
Amen
It's
to that.
absolute bullshit.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Not so much that they did it. That part's really funny. The backlash is even funnier. So to give you a little bit of a context here, annual Grace Hopper celebration isn't technically supposed to be a job fair. It's supposed to be a conference celebrating nerdy girls in the tech industry. However, corporate recruiters looking to spruce up their ESG scores are usually in high attendance. Considering over 265,000 tech employees have been laid off over the last 2 years, access to those recruiters at Grace Hopper is a hot commodity, and this year they opened conference to the gender spectrum, of course. Not a gathering of women and non-binary technologists. Yeah,
Now,
because that's real.
Non-binary basically means you are what you feel you are at the time. Am I right?
No, really what it comes down to, like, say this is a bottle of prescription medication. All right? And me over here, I'm a painfully ordinary, uninteresting, undesirable, leftoid shithead. And that right there is a prescription pills for a they-them pronoun.
So you can be different.
You know, that's pretty much what they do.
So what you're saying is they're stuck in mediocrity land.
Yeah.
And they're grasping at yarn straws to get out of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Because anybody who's got a pulse at this point knows that marginalized people are really specially protected groups.
In current year, yes.
Yes, they have special privileges. They can go out and burn, loot, and murder, not get prosecuted for it. They can declare their identity and walk into a women's bathroom and, start taking pictures of the kiddies, and you can't say anything, otherwise you're a phobe. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
That they're tired of being ordinary, they're tired of being ignored, they're tired of not being desired. So they have latched on to something that says anybody who doesn't accept me for who I am or desire me as a commodity for who I am is a bigot. And because people are so terrified of being called bigots, because, oh my God, who wants to be a bigot? There you go.
And listen, every single person out there has the power within them to not be ordinary.
Yeah.
Well, many times the things that keep you in the pool of mediocrity are your own fears, your lack of drive, period.
Exactly.
If you are so paralyzed what other people say or think about you that you are unwilling to crawl your ass out of that pool of mediocrity, you deserve to be there.
Yep.
I myself, every time I found, I was getting judo flipped into the pool of mediocrity, I always climbed out kicking and screaming, and sometimes covered in my own goddamn blood, because I have no place there.
Yep. But we were talking about the backlash and the
Stand by.
Instaphobicatry.
I need to look at that augmented ass.
It's very augmented. Yes.
Yeah, that.
I'm sure that's totally what your mama gave you, honey.
No, she is literally on the verge of becoming full Tyrannosaurus rexitis.
You got like a good 3 to 5 years before that heads
Yeah,
south.
she has already lit the fuse on that fat bomb.
Yeah. Asses like this are geese in like mid-October. It's only a matter of time before it heads south for the winter.
Yeah.
It's bad news.
Bad news, Barrett. Sorry. I disturbed the whole show because of that unnatural ass.
Speaking of mediocre istophobigates, apparently we gotta do something about all these women. Oh, I'm sorry, I just assumed their gender. Assuming the gender of all the non-binary, penis havers. I don't even know what you're supposed to call them. We got bonus hole keepers and birthing persons and all this bullshit nomenclature they're coming up with.
I'm a penis haver.
I'm a penis haver. I'm a penile protector.
Oh, my Lord.
Why am I seeing so many men at Grace Hopper? We can't have anything. It's some men are suddenly fake identifying with he, her pronouns to go to Grace Hopper.
All right.
Hang on.
So if we're going to acknowledge that people can fake their gender, when are you going to acknowledge that perverts can do the same thing?
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Listen, if I had a young child and there was somebody hanging out in the dressing room or locker room that was a penis haver, I would identify as the tooth fairy, and things would go awry really quick.
You'd still be a more believable tooth fairy than The Rock. Or was that Vin Diesel?
I'm not remembering.
I don't know if it was Dwayne Johnson or Vin Diesel.
I think it was Dwayne Johnson.
That was one that I looked at, and I was like, I'm good. If I got to watch a movie like that, I'll just pop in Kindergarten Cop.
Well, I took my daughters to see it. So.
Okay. That was one of those occasions where they actually talked you into something that wasn't a musical, right?
They only did that to me twice.
This is a musical, isn't it? Damn it. Homo suspicion point assessed.
Listen, I like my foo-foo drinks and such. I'm like, I have to be very cognizant of the homo suspicion point. I don't want to go, tip over the edge into like homo confirmed or homo suspected. I'm trying not to do that.
Yep. Oh, man. Speaking of homo confirmed, Matt Walsh actually chimed in and said, wow, amazing. A bunch of women in tech all suddenly decided that the word woman means something again.
Yeah, actually, and tomorrow, the stream I'm doing tomorrow with Jimmy, if he can make it, I want to do the one where I'm going to talk about the Daily Wire and their marriage bullshit.
Yes, yeah, they're going very anti-red pill over there, which is kind of hilarious.
Now, normally I don't really step into the arena for shit like this, but
it's becoming more common. We're starting to see a lot more shame from our own. More infighting, essentially, because conservatism and red pill tend to line up.
I am immune from the blame and shame game. I don't give a fuck about those individuals for the most part. I mean, I appreciate their efforts. But when it comes to like trying to lure people into a system that sees a lot of these men broken and dead, I can't recommend it, and I cannot remain silent. I just can't do it.
It's like, I mean, if you have to get married, like do what I suggested, which is leave the state out of it completely. Like if you want to get married, you want to have the children, you want to do the family thing, that's totally fine. Leave the state out of it. Do a church marriage certificate. Live together in a state that does not have common law marriage, and you're good to go. Because if things end, then okay, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, then you're done.
Well, my thing is at my age, I can't even do that.
Oh, well, yeah, you're too old for that shit. It's marriage is on your Murtaugh list.
No, I'm not even. No.
At this point, dating's on your Murtaugh list.
Well, first of all, I mean, have you seen 50-year-old women? We
don't talk about that here.
Listen, that's why we call them gristle clits.
You cut off the gristle and throw it. No, we leave that to the Muslims. Ooh, I'm so sorry.
Quite literally, their clit grows up their chest until it's hanging off their chin. So literally, like when I'm talking to these women and they have that whole gristle clit thing going on, I have to do everything in my power to keep myself from doing this.
Did we call that pelican neck once upon a time?
Yes, we did. Pelican.
There's some belching toads and frogs that have the very similar sort of thing. Sometimes, well, they would be more like the one where, like, the double chin actually engorges to the point where it comes out farther than the primary chin.
They can punch you with their second chin.
Like the chick on with the clown makeup on the Drew Carey show back in the day. Her second chin was like bigger than her actual chin.
We should come up with a name for that.
Bloated toad syndrome.
Glottothrodopodipus?
Glottothroda swallow piss. Maybe that explains the swelling.
I don't know. I have to work on a name for that. I think that would be quite hilarious.
Yeah, it would be.
Oh, my Lord.
Anyway, we're way off in the weeds here, but it doesn't mean that we can't divert course and go back.
Listen, man, that's why they come here. They like the banter.
They do like the banter. It's what's going on. I hope you guys missed me. Well, some of you didn't. It's fine, though. What do we got here? We got a video from this here. Let's check this out.
Uh-oh.
Ah, of course, it's going to take us to Twatter or X or whatever this shit you want to call it now.
I don't care.
All right, let's see here.
Conference for females in tech was taken over by male attendees.
They were there just...
Oh, you're just assuming their gender now? Huh? How dare you, bigots?
But this is exactly what's going on. The minute you use their tools against them...
All of a sudden, biology and stuff matters again. Like,
yeah, and it's the same thing. We're doing the same thing with immigration. We're sending all these immigrants to these sanctuary cities.
It's amazing how there's no border crisis until it's no longer at the border and it's in your backyard.
Correct.
Fucking NIMBYists. Let's see what else we got here.
purely for the career fair.
Social media clips filmed at the Grace Hopper, the world's largest gathering of women technologists,
And
show
non-binary.
men standing in line to meet with recruiters.
This is a space for women in tech. This is one of those few limited resources that isn't for you, it's for us.
Some of the male attendees...
What do you mean one of those few? You have more legal rights than we do.
Hang on. All right. I've been noticing this since I was a child.
Wow.
Women have invaded virtually every single male space and destroyed it. Like Boy Scouts.
Boy
gone.
Scouts, the corporate boardrooms.
I mean, come on.
Shit. That they're insisting that they can play co-ed sports like football. Yeah.
Please let them. I would.
Yeah, you
love
go
to-
right ahead.
You go right ahead. I want to see that 280-pound defensive back just turn you into some road pizza.
Yep. The thing is, I have no sympathy for them because feminists are the ones who kicked the door open for this Marxist drivel. And now, because they are so adamant that the Christian norms that built this country can never be correct, they're never going to try to go back. They are too proud and too stupid to admit that things have gone too far. Yeah. And they would rather die on the fire of their own stupidity than ever admit that the Christians might actually be right.
Well, and another thing is they have to keep pushing these stupid, frivolous fights to keep the funding going.
Yep.
It's all about money.
Oh, yeah. Feminists started with, well, we just want the vote. That's all we want, and then we're going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And, now we want abortion and birth control and all that stuff, and that's all we want, and then we'll go home.
Mm-hmm. And it just keeps going.
Yep. Now they want more than equal rights. They want special privileges, and, in fact, they've had that for decades now, and they just refuse to acknowledge
exactly what affirmative action is.
So what are some of the reactions here from people who actually have a head on their, a brain in their skull? From Zuby Music, I can't believe how bigoted some of the women in this video are. Literally trying to erase these beautiful non-binary folks with an X. Dangerous. Lost Creatives, imagine the screeching if there was a male-only event for recruitment. Sounds like somebody else we know.
Yep.
Rebecca V, devoted reality believer, says this is the future of all women's events.
And you did it to your fucking
self. You did
self.
it to yourself. I don't give a shit. I think it's hilarious. Until you start standing up for women and stop insisting that, Transformers can come into the locker rooms and take your Woman of the Year awards. Thank you, Bruce Jenner, for that piece of comedy gold. What was that, 7 years ago now? That was the beginning of it. And now
Here we go.
we're off to the races. So much for the slippery slope being a fallacy, or slope being a fallacy. Slippery slope fallacy. Say that 3 times fast.
I was just going to say, you sounded like a dyslexicist.
I said, I've been hanging out with you too much, man. Just hanging out with you too much. So yeah, dudes, keep it up. Let the mockery commence, and do not ever let them tell you to stop.
Well, I mean, just use the same ammunition they've been using on us for the past 20 years. Blame, shame, and guilt them back.
Exactly. Hey, you wanted equal rights?
Well, now you're going to get some equal laughs.
Equal laughs.
Because men are masters at manipulating, the system to their benefit because they know no one's coming to the rescue except for themselves.
The biggest problem with these leftoids is that they are perfectly okay with double standards as long as it benefits them.
Listen,
And then as soon as something like this happens, they want to cry foul, but they genuinely can't without being laughed at.
listen, if I was a young male today and with the way the economy and the job market is right now, if I had to just put on my resume non-binary to get a job, I would do it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I'd feel absolutely no fucks or any flakes of guilt over it whatsoever.
Yeah, because that's what makes this so hilarious and why it makes perfect sense to me why leftoids never demand proof for anything as long as it conforms with their bias. Because how can anyone prove that they're non-binary?
Yeah.
You can't.
I don't even know what that is. How is that even like? How do you even exercise non-binary sex?
I don't know. Every time I hear one of these fucking idiots who's like, well, I'm non-binary. Oh, okay. Well, then can you explain to me how if I wanted to have gender reassignment surgery, there's only one option?
Yeah.
If you could explain that to me, I'll gladly go home. But you can't.
No, because there isn't 136 different
Yeah.
patterns for genitalia.
Yeah. And what's their cope? Well, you can't define woke. Can you?
Well, I can tell you what woke is.
Well, so can I. It's weaponized fake empathy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's fake empathy. Woke is trying to make the world conform to your feelings.
Mm-hmm. It's anti-white.
Yeah.
Unless you're a dude and you like cock, or you're a woman and you like poon, or you insist that you are something that you are not.
Yeah.
But even then, if your political beliefs are wrong, then you're a faker.
Correct.
Even though there's no proof that you are any of these things in the first place, if they decide you're a faker, you're a faker. Even though this is supposed to be about self-image and self-identification, which you are then denying that person's existence by your own woke logic.
Well, you're assuming that these individuals on the left are capable of logic.
Oh, I am not assuming anything.
They
I know
are
they're
not.
not capable of logic.
They are not capable of logic.
Somebody who can actually look me in the face and say unironically that non-binary is a thing is incapable of logic.
Correct.
They're too stupid to live. That's why we turn things over to Darwin.
Well, yeah, maybe at one point they'll be so stupid they forget to breathe.
That would be nice. Fucking oxygen thieves.
100%.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.